back live with the Blame Girl podcast with
Mr. Fuck Around and Find Out, aka Terry Wayne.
Stole my line.
You just stole that right from my guest.
I appropriated it. That's
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
We're back live with the Blame Girl podcast with Mr. Terry Wayne and you guys fuck around and find out. Trace Rossi in the house. What up, Trace?
Howdy. Good to see you guys.
How was your weekend?
It was awesome actually. On Friday, my buddy hosted this like murder mystery party, but it was like a heist theme thing. So like we went into it. I was one of the heist guys. We got caught right off the bat and just slowly started getting like picked off one by one. And dude, it was so much fun. Like it was awesome. On Saturday, I hung out with Christina Michelle, fellow comedian, and then in the morning, she crashed on my couch and we did a podcast for my podcast, Dating Tales and Mating Fails, and watched the Browns lose with Kyle Dahl. So it was a full weekend.
That sounds like a lot of fun, and it sounds like you like made a lot of friends with comedians.
Oh, I think that just people are being nice. I don't think people like me.
You're nice.
Thank you.
Terry, how was your weekend?
I did what did I do? What did I do this weekend? Had an appointment on Saturday. I went to the zoo, which feels weird.
Or what?
because my girl wanted to go to the zoo. She's like, I've never been to the zoo here. And I'm like, it's for children.
I was going to say, are you dating a child?
Yeah, no. Well, sort of. She's about 11 years younger than me. But no, she just wanted to see it. So we just went to the zoo. I don't know. But then we came home and did a bunch of mushrooms, and it was fun. That was
awesome.
I haven't had a weekend like that in a minute. Oh, I don't do mushrooms.
What did you?
Yeah, I just remember
talking about.
We were walking around the zoo, and she's like, "There's so many kids here." I'm like, the fact that they're here is not the weird thing. The fact that we're here.
Did you do mushrooms for the zoo, or this was
no.
Okay. No. You didn't freak out the animals, huh?
No, I mean, because it's the Palm Beach Zoo. If you haven't been there, it's not very big. It's not very flashy. It's just.
What are the animals? Like, what's the craziest thing you saw?
I mean, most of the animals are just sad. They do have a tiger, so.
I think it's a tiger. Like, that's the big draw.
I don't know how many are in there. I thought they had multiple, but I know they have at least one. I have visual confirmation of one. No, but I think I like they had this this porcupine from Africa, but it was fucking enormous. It was like the size of a small horse, and it was just all scaled out and all that.
The size of a horse?
That's what you lead with when I say something crazy at the zoo. Horse-sized porcupine. Jeez,
well,
how do you not?
I said a small horse. We're talking Shetland here, but it was still enormous.
That's amazing. Did you touch it?
No. It's a zoo. It's not a petting zoo. Okay. No, I looked at it and I was like, wow. And then I called it a few racial slurs and then left.
That's how you do it. You don't one way to live your life.
Yeah. So my weekend, guys, was
nobody cares.
It's probably not worth caring. I didn't really do much this weekend. I had a show on Friday night, or was that Saturday night?
It's being booked so much you don't know what day.
No, I can't remember what night the show was, but it was one of those nights, and it was Saturday night, and that was a lot of fun. And then we went over to Pompano Brewing Company afterwards. It might have been Friday night, I can't remember, but anyway, Charlie Escarillo, who's been on the show before, he is moving to New York. He had his last show at the Pompano Beach Brewing Company. And we went to that, and it was like really crazy to see all the comics in one spot. Not all of them, because I didn't see you guys there.
Yeah, that was Friday night.
Okay, that was Friday night. So
Yeah,
that
I wasn't even invited. I just saw it online. I was like, oh, I was doing something.
yeah.
I was gonna say Saturday night I was on a different planet talking to the devil. So
that was Friday night. Saturday night, then I didn't do a damn thing, I don't think. And then Sunday I had breakfast with a friend and dinner with a friend, and then that's about it. So are y'all ready to start blaming?
well, you
Let's-
needed a weekend off because you just moved, which I just simply put on a post and it just took off. Everybody just wanted to congratulate you on your new place.
Yeah.
What did that? Like all you have to do is say congratulate somebody on a post and everybody comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
I don't even think they read it.
I like how they don't know if it was either like an upgrade or a downgrade.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Why are you congratulating me? But at least I found somewhere to live. Like I'm not home,
Amen.
you know?
Yeah, they don't care. You could post on there like, hey, just had a kid, ellipses, but it's not breathing. And you'd still have 100. Oh, congratulations. They don't read anything.
Jesus
Wow.
Christ.
They don't read nothing on Facebook.
It's really intense.
Hmm.
All right. So are y'all ready to get to the blaming?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna start off with some morons. Actually, and you know what? I just realized I don't know which one of them said it, but one of them okay. This is really bad of me because I should have read all this before, and I did. But Trump called DeSantis a moron. No.
Oh yeah, that's Trumpism.
DeSantis called Trump a moron who has no business running for president, and I sound like a moron right now. But and they're just exchanging insults. Who's to blame, guys? Why are Trump and DeSantis at each other's throats?
Well, I mean, it's obviously Trump's fault. Not because he initiated it or not because he changed the political atmosphere in 2015, 2016 that made it okay. And the funny thing is DeSantis, when he first ran, he would never say anything like this. He basically was just dipping toes in to see how far you can go. And that's the thing is Trump showed us that you can, if you're brave enough to test the boundaries, sometimes you get rewarded for that. And now there are no fucking boundaries. Yeah. This kind of shit would be political suicide at any other time in history.
Yeah.
I see. I disagree with you on that, Terry, because like if you go back to, gosh, I think it's like the 1300s or even 800s with like Greek democracy, they had a whole thing called Ostraseca, which was removing politicians from the city for like 10 years. You could vote on it. First off, we need to bring that back. I think we could all agree on that. Second off, if you read into the way in which they were fighting each other and the way in that they were arguing, it was the same things. It was always, oh, this dude's cheating on his wife. This guy's doing that. It's always been the same thing. It's just he's brought it back to what it was before from hundreds of thousands of years ago. It's always been the same bullshit we've been doing. Like, if you think that it's different, like you haven't been paying attention. Like I knew people, like my family, I spent time in Rhode Island. One of the reasons that like somebody wasn't voting for politics is because they edited photos of this dude with children. Like these things happen throughout all of it. They call each other out.
You just think it sounds like you just think politicians are trash.
Yeah.
Well, he's playing a little fast and loose with some don't take all that with a grain of salt. He's playing pretty fast and loose with some dates and some facts. But I mean, first of all, we're just talking about American politics, and I thought that's where you were going to go. You would have been right for that too. They did used to like write letters and then have them published in the papers, and but it was always done with like an air of civility. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't even know what the right tea blend is, and you want him to run the country.
No, I'll give you that.
Yeah, but it wasn't like she's a fat slut who bleeds out of a vagina. Like.
Or like
it
a
was
moron.
never as classless as it is.
Well, I think definitely,
Trump saying about DeSantis, he's like, I made you. Which is
I mean, like,
I didn't.
I'm not gonna say that he's like wrong. Like Trump had been like putting up Republicans for the 4 years that he was president. Like, look at how many people he backed that got in. After he got out, then it was a different story.
I think there's something to like insults that equal campaign dollars. You know what I mean? Like, whoever has the hardest your mama joke is getting the most campaign dollars. And I
Well,
think
it's not even insults. It's not insults. Trump did one thing that nobody can take away from him. He harnessed people's boiling hot anger inside them and used it for his own gain.
Yeah.
You know what Trump hardly ever talks about? Fucking policies. Almost never.
Does he
If you
have
watch
any
one of his rallies, it's almost never about what he wants to do. It's just he took that mentality of owning the libs, and he took that anger that conservatives had, and they just pointed a gun at America and fired, and it worked.
Yeah.
For a minute, you know. But I mean, that's all it is. It's just I'm not good, but they're bad. So let's all yell at them.
I'm not good, but they're bad.
Yeah.
Not if Trump's saying it.
Well, I mean,
him in particular, but
I think that's just politics in general.
Cancer. You don't have Marjorie Taylor Greene without Donald Trump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
now it's almost fashionable to be crazy.
They set the bar. He set the bar for that. And like I said, the crazier you are, the more campaign dollars you get.
Right.
With that particular base, you know?
Right. Oh, he's going to insult women and be accused of sexual assault. Well, guess what? Jewish space lasers. And they keep one-upping each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Jewish space lasers.
I don't know anything about the Jewish space lasers.
That's
the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing. Yeah, okay, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, she's something else.
Wildfires in California.
I mean, like the whole fucking thing with politics right now, though. I mean, like the whole Twitter has just ruined the world. Can we agree on that?
Speaking of,
let's not single out Twitter. Social media in general.
Yeah, but like Twitter is the only one that people go to when they're angry, like comparatively to like a Facebook and Instagram, or like you can go into like the mental profiles behind like what you do on these websites. Twitter is where people go for anger. That's why if you're a business, you shouldn't have a Twitter account unless you're some major corporation, because all it's going to do is just give you shit, because that's what Twitter is. It's just shitting on people for fun.
Speaking of Twitter shitting on people, they tried to shit on Lizzo this week, y'all. And I don't know if you saw this, but Lizzo, she went to the Library of Congress and they showed her all these flutes. They have like hundreds of flutes on display there. I bet you didn't know that. And they let her play James Madison's famous crystal flute at her concert that night. And conservatives went on Twitter with some outrage. Your Ben Shapiro's, just random conservative tweeters, and they're like saying some nasty stuff about her playing this flute. Who's to blame?
Yeah, that one pissed me off too. I was like, did they really think James Madison didn't play that flute and twerk?
No, they're just outraged by the fact that she's a black woman playing it.
No, it's not. It's just like it's just being dumb. Like the whole thing.
You're not
is
supposed
just
to play
retarded.
his flute. You're supposed to be owned by him. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it at all. I think it's just outrage culture for no fucking reason. They always have to have another thing in the fucking pipeline. This is the biggest thing. Like, I fucking love Lizzo. Lizzo's amazing.
They feel like by letting Lizzo play James Madison's flute, their white heritage is being attacked. Your white heritage of owning slaves. Yes, it is. It is. We are attacking it. Sorry.
I don't
know about that.
I don't think any of that's true.
I mean, I was just kind of kidding, but I mean, it's the fact that it's a black woman playing it. Yeah, that's a little extra for them. But
like,
it's like Trey said. It's just that they're always, because all politics and pundits and all they do, outrage is the product that they sell now. It's just, why should you be angry?
Well, was the twerking necessary, Lizzo? Was the twerking necessary?
I don't think twerking's ever necessary, to be honest with you. Like, I don't get the fascination.
I think it's like, honestly, the funniest thing is I go on like because I mean, I'm a conservative, so I go on all these conservative message boards, and everything that I see about this is, who the fuck cares? Like, she's actually brought more light to this flute than anybody has seen since the flute's inception. Like, she's actually done something amazing for James Madison. Like,
I was going to say, forget that. Let's talk about all the teenagers who now know who James Madison is, but didn't before, because the CRT laws, you know, you're not allowed to talk about him because he had slaves, and that might make a white kid feel bad.
And but also the Library of Congress. I bet a lot of them didn't even know that fucking existed. And I personally didn't know that they had 100+ flutes on display. I didn't know they had musical instruments on display at the Library of Congress.
They got all kinds of stuff.
Well, I've probably been there because I've been to
you know who's in the Library of Congress?
Who?
This guy right here.
Ooh.
Ooh, for what?
That's right. Get the book on Amazon right now. Unclaimed Ashes. What's up?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I thought you were gonna just say graffiti.
No. no, I'm actually in the Library of Congress.
That's awesome.
All right. This is what one of the tweets. The thing that is obvious, but people don't want to say is that is humiliating white people about desecrating American history and heritage. That's what you do when you're a conqueror. Humiliated, conquered.
Oh, because Lizzo played it and then gave it back. I just watched a whole special on how Britain and the US have stolen artifacts from all these different countries. And then now they come back and they're like, under colonial times, and then they come back and they're like, hey, can we have that back now that we're all civilized? And we're like, no, you can't have this back.
It was stolen rightfully.
Yeah, exactly. We
it's
stole
like,
it first. I mean, the Queen of England, her crown still has that famous diamond that they took from India.
Yeah, it's like,
still has it.
Like, I think that this is just one of those things that's being like baited by both sides just to cause more clicks across the board. I mean, like, the fact is we're talking about it. We've been talking about this now for 10 minutes. It's why? Like, it's nothing. She played a flute. Honestly, she's a classically trained flautist. Like, she did it justice. It wasn't like she was just somebody that was like randomly. No, she knows what she's doing.
Well, look, if you ask Ben Shapiro, he says that the Lizzo Flu controversy is a perfect example of what he has termed face tattoo phenomenon.
Yeah, but
phenomenon whereby someone does something deliberately controversial in an attempt to draw attention and then acts offended.
How is that controversial?
Playing a flute?
Because she twerked.
That's her thing with the flute. If you ever watch her use it.
If you want to make an argument that she shouldn't be twerking because she's 300 pounds, I'll be there with you on that argument. I agree with that portion of it.
If you want to make an argument that people like genuinely enjoy Ben Shapiro as a person, you're wrong. Like, I know people that know him.
Some people
I know people that know him. They don't like him. Like,
I know his wife probably doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So.
He says some things. I'm like, God damn right. But then he says other stuff. I'm like, oh my God, where are you coming from on this? That's every one of these people.
Yeah, it's not a good time to be alive right now.
No.
To be honest,
there's a culture war.
The people that just went through Hurricane Ian, Terry, and the people that are Florida homeowners and their insurance is fucking them. Y'all, Florida's homeowners insurance is in a lot of trouble right now. Who's to blame?
What? Wait a second. I want to go back to that. Why would I have to tell them that it's not a good time to be alive? I think they know because they just went through a hurricane.
You just gotta stay fucking up the transition.
I'm fucking up.
You just gotta always shit. I'm sick of it, Terry.
All right. Well, you didn't make any sense on that one.
Keep it to yourself next time. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm not here to keep things to myself. Talk.
It's a podcast. It's the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, now she's flipping.
How could it have a
seamless
seamless
fuck around and find
here
out?
Comes Terry's like, well, wouldn't they hate being alive if they just went through a hurricane? No, they're probably thankful to be alive right now, Terry.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant. All right. So anyway, back to the topic. Florida homeowners insurance is in a heap of trouble right now. Who's to blame?
I can actually insurance companies. Sorry, Terry.
No, I'm fine.
No, I was just making a joke. I read this. I didn't understand.
I actually, I work partly in this industry. All these, because before you get a homeowner's insurance policy, you got to come to somebody like me, where I got to do these. So I work with them all the time. And no, I got no love lost for insurance companies. They're quite despicable, to be honest. I work with them all the time, and you know, they use issues like this to kind of swell it up and be like, oh my God, look at this. Now we got to pay all this out. Yeah. Pay it out of what? Oh, the billions of dollars you made last year? Yeah.
That you try not to pay out every
Yeah.
time somebody tries to do a claim?
Yeah, I'm gonna get Lizzo to play the world's smallest violin for you, you know?
So
Fucking
do
stupid.
you think this is all about Ian, or is it bigger than this?
No, they do this with every time a storm comes through. They're like, look, see, we're gonna go bankrupt. No, you're not.
Yep.
No, you're
It's,
not. You're not gonna go bankrupt because you got 1,000 ways to make money off people. They
But
just hate paying out.
Does this
no,
have
that's really it. That's why you need a good lawyer.
Well, my understanding is in Florida that they've changed the rules and you don't actually have to have all the cash on hand to cover the policies, and that is why they're going bankrupt. Do you think that has to do anything with like Florida politics?
Well, I mean, insurance has always been tricky in Florida ever since Hurricane Andrew, because that actually did bankrupt a few insurance companies. But hey, that's your look. First of all, if you take all the profits that you make and then spend them as if you'll never have to pay anything out, then you're going to get fucked up in the end, you know, and that's nobody's fault but the board, you know. It's their board of representatives that make these decisions. So if they're shirking money, then yeah. And the federal government will go after them if it comes to that point where they're like, oh, no, insurance doesn't work that way. They're not just allowed to go, well, sorry, guys, we lost. So fuck all y'all. It doesn't really work like that. No, you're going to lose your house, Mr. Chairman, you know, because the government will see shit, assets and whatnot, and, you know, to cover your losses. I mean, hopefully, unless they've bought enough politicians and then maybe get away with it.
It says more than 1 million Florida homeowners have been forced to turn to Citizens private insurance, the state's, or Citizens property insurance, the state's publicly funded insurer of last resort, meaning the taxpayers now are going to be on the hook for these billions of dollars that these insurers were supposed to.
No. First of all, fuck Citizens. All right. I have a real problem with them. I've been working with them for years. Citizens insurance is one of the strictest, most difficult companies to work with, and it's done like that by design because, like you said, it's public. So there's no reserve behind that, which means, and it's not like it's free. They charge just as much as anybody else, but they're super strict about who they'll write a policy to because they don't want you there. They really don't want you there. They don't want your money. They don't want to write you a policy, and they will do anything to get out of it. I've had to go back to properties. That's like
about insurance. It's like everybody's going to be like that. Then you just better off saving money to cover your own fucking expense.
No,
you're talking to the right libertarian, I think. Is that
right?
That's sort of.
Would have thought I saw myself saying that, but also, you know,
it's like, how do you?
If we're gonna cover it with our tax dollars, of course you're gonna be like stricter when you're writing these policies and issuing them. But you know, do you think it has anything to do with like maybe quit building your homes on the coastlines?
Yeah, that's really the question. It's like, how do you ensure something that's guaranteed to happen?
Yeah.
You know,
well, let's not go that far. You know, they instituted a program called the Wind Mitigation Relief Program in the 90s after Hurricane Andrew, which basically said you could get a lower rate on your home insurance if you can prove that it can withstand a certain amount of wind load on the building, right? Because once it gets to a point that's high enough when it comes to wind loads on storms like that, it's really not going to matter because everybody's going to be fucked. But so and it still runs today. I did 2 of them today. But as far as the coastal lines, the absolute biggest scam in American insurance is the flood insurance program, which is a government program that they farm out to other insurance companies, basically, and the other insurance companies collect the premiums, process the claims, but keep all the money, and then the government pays out. Yeah, I know. It sounds like that couldn't be right, but I promise you it is right.
I'm in the wrong industry.
During flooding, any company that works through the National Flood Insurance Program, any company, when there is a flood, they make tons of money. You would think that would be counterintuitive because why aren't they paying out? Because the government pays out. And all they do is keep collecting. They collect the premiums. They give nothing back to the government. Then they process all the claims that come through and they get paid for each claim they process on top of it. How fucked up is that?
I
promise you it's true.
It don't sound right. It don't sound
I'm
right.
not gonna lie, I kind of zoned out halfway through that. That was
That's
a lot of.
That's why it works.
That's exactly it.
Because nobody's interested, and that's why it continues to work. That's why Wall Street can suck all the money out of the economy, is because they do it all in this long form math that nobody even wants to look at. This high finite math that nobody can understand. They just go, oh, just give me a cheeseburger and leave me alone. And that's it.
You know
Nobody
what's
gives
interesting
a
that you say that is that, so I dated this guy. He was like a neuroscientist in Houston. He is like PhD. And he's like, I think I'm gonna just go work for Wall Street. And I was like, what? And he's like, it's the math. And I was like,
It's where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
All you got to do is bore people sufficiently, and they will just take it. Just take all the tax money. It's fine. Doesn't matter. Leave me alone.
Dude, if you can get that government money, oh my gosh, that's like my dream. Is just to have the government's money.
You should be not a fan of that because those are your tax dollars, right?
Who, me? Them paying me? I mean, like, listen, if they're going to be paying somebody with those tax dollars.
We'll get back to that later. You don't.
Like, I'm not for taxes.
Yeah, I understand, but we're $17 trillion in debt. Maybe we should hang on to some of it. You know,
we're gonna collapse soon anyway. Let's just start it. Like,
I agree.
Let's be real.
You know who collapsed over the weekend was?
Oh Lord.
Oh,
the Dolphins player Tua. I can't say.
You gotta say it. You gotta say it. Say the last name.
Tagovailoa.
Is it Tagolavoa? I don't know.
Tagolavoa.
Okay, Tua Tagolavoa. He hit his head one week in a game. This is my understanding. I don't watch football. I bet Terry was surprised I even brought this up into the topic.
You said this for little old me.
No, I saw this. I saw this game.
But so, and then they had him back the next week, and then he hit his head again, and it sparked a discussion about how the NFL has taken steps backward when it comes to head trauma care. If you all remember, the movie Concussion came out, and we were all like, "Oh my God, it's not right," and you know,
nobody saw that.
You think the NFL gives a crap? Like let's be real about this. The NFL did a whole thing about like, oh, no more boys will be boys, and then they gave Deshaun Watson, who had 22 sexual assault allegations against him, 22, and they were confirmed after a while, and they gave him not even a year suspension. Sorry, I'm a Browns fan, and this has been hurting me.
I understand that you're screaming and it's crackling up the audio.
I'm sorry. This is it's been bugging me.
Trace, show your passion.
I just like the NFL doesn't care. Like, let's be real. It's a money making system. That's what they're doing. They're trying to make us. They're trying to put it out there. Like, if you really look at like. Honestly, I think if more shit like this happened, people would watch it more. Like, it's just we're in a society right now where you're not supposed to see these things. Like, you don't want to watch people get hurt, but like, really, we do. That's why we love watching like wipeout videos and shit like that.
I think that the Dolphins did not take him out for that.
Well,
he had already
there is a concussion protocol that they have to go through. The controversy with Tua was, some people think he didn't go through that protocol properly. I mean, but even now they're saying he's going to be back for the next game. Yeah.
Bro, that Thursday.
They're saying he did all the scans. He did his MRIs. He's been looked over a million times, and they're saying, no, he does not. He did not have a concussion. I don't know. I saw that game. This whole thing, like that's. Yeah, I mean, because instantly, as a comedian, is the second I saw that, I screen grabbed it, and I was gonna make a meme that says "When the pussy's too strong." But
Jesus Christ, Terry!
I know, too soon.
I mean, he should have done it.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Shut up.
You know why I actually brought this topic up? Because I saw Gonzo. Gonzo seems to take this pretty seriously because he was like, I'm zapping everybody if you got Tua jokes. I'm sick of it. And I was like, oh. And so I read a little, I was like, why is he being, because I keep hearing the Tua and the Tua memes and seeing it, but then I didn't know really what had happened. And I mean, people were making fun of this man that might have been having some sort of a medical emergency on the field. Do you think that it's like toxic masculinity? Like we expect football players just to keep up and get up and keep going, get up and keep going. It don't matter how bad you're hurt.
Oh.
Play through the
Look,
injury.
I don't
think that.
Play through that injury. They
I mean,
did it for our gymnasts.
Yeah,
Like-
but I mean, people talk about these human beings, these athletes, like they're slaves or something. They're not. They're making tons of money doing the thing that they love the most. And not only that, there's 10,000 other people behind them that would kill to be in that position. So I understand there has to be safety. I understand that, but it's kind of like Trey said, that's not actually what we want. You know why people slow down at a car accident? Not for safety. They want to see if someone's dead. That's it.
That's what it is.
It is. That's what.
Well, they can,
and the worst, and I can prove it, because the worst,
the
worse the accident, the bigger the traffic jam. Because people will they will slow down. Even they're looking for those yellow tarps.
Just rubbernecking.
Yep.
I hope I don't see something like that while I'm driving, but I would.
But you do hope that.
No,
You're just
I don't.
trying to be
I
good
definitely
and
don't.
say
I definitely am like, ooh, you know.
But like,
this
that might
is-
be you as a person, but as a whole, like humanity's fucked up. Like you can't deny that. Like I mean,
and you
we
don't
watch
even have
murder,
to feel bad about it.
mysteries.
It's nothing new.
Yeah, like that's who we are. Like look,
Y'all are
Dahmer is the perfect example. That's on Netflix. People are eating that shit up. Why? Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer.
The acting is really good, and it's not just about Jeffrey.
Come on.
Dahmer. If you look
That's
at
what
the
you
victim,
know. They're
all the
interested
victims,
because of what he
all the
did.
people. No, when I got done with that series, I was like, man, he fucked up a lot of people's lives, and you can see that in the series. That's why I think it's like you're like, oh, that was a lot of fucking people, because you get to go through each person's life that he takes, and then you see his family, and you see his neighbor, and you see the families of the people that he killed and what they go through. And
But like,
hey, Bernie Madoff
That's-
fucked up a lot of people's
unity.
lives. It ain't #1 on Netflix. All right.
that's exactly it. But like, yeah, but that's what they're showing you, that because they want you to get that visceral, like, like that. It adds so much more when you know the backstory to it. Like, it adds so much. Like, if you're watching James Bond kill a bunch of like civilians, it doesn't mean that much. But if you show one of those guys come up and he like kisses his wife and kids goodbye, goes in there and James Bond shoots him in the fucking head, you're gonna feel so much more for that random goon. Like, and that's what they're doing there. They're trying to build that so you feel more. That's why we watch Hostel and fucking Saw and all that shit.
That's a little too gory for me. But speaking of backstory, I think it's time.
We don't hang on
your back
before you transition over, because I didn't even get to say one. I'm just saying it's nothing new. He's talking about Dahmer. Fuck it, let's go right back to the Coliseum when we used to take, gladiators and slaves and throw them in there with tigers, and people would cheer, and they're like, "This is great." It's nothing new.
Yeah, the bloodlust that humans sometimes have. It's crazy.
Look at the UFC, for fuck's sake.
Like,
why is the UFC more popular than
boxing
boxing now?
That, and as I've gotten older, like I like horror movies, but not like that. You know what horror movies I watch? Like It Follows. There's no real gore in that, but it's fucking scary. You know what I'm saying?
Suspenseful.
Yeah. Suspenseful. So anyway, as I was saying, speaking of backstories, it's time to find out about yours, Trace Rossi.
Oh man, what do you want to know?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for dressing up. Appreciate it.
You know me. Look, I'll put on the Santa robe.
Can I finish throwing him though, Terry?
I know. I've been waiting to do that dressing up joke since you got here.
Trace Rossi, who's pending investigations he'd rather not bring up, but he can tell us about his podcast. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Trace, how long have you been doing comedy?
February.
Oh, this February?
This February.
How did you get into it?
So comedy has always been something like I dreamed of doing. I spent the last about decade in a small town in Texas. And my dad's from New York. And so all the stories about him trying out open mics were like, oh, you're going to be there till 2 a.m. and then you might not get on. I'm like, I'm not driving an hour to Dallas for a chance that I might get on at 2 a.m. to drive back. So I didn't do it. I realized that's not what it was at all. Comedy has always been something I've loved. I remember watching the Comedy Central Presents with my sister as a kid.
Mhm.
And just every time I get a laugh out of somebody in life, it's probably my favorite feeling in the world.
So you're glad you got into it then. That's
It,
really good.
yeah, this is like the thing I absolutely love.
Did you take classes?
No,
No, you just jumped right into it. You just hit the mics and
yeah, I just started running. I did the very first one I did was the New Faces at the Improv,
okay.
and
How did
I-
you find out about New Faces at the Improv?
so my friend Aria, who is my co-host on my podcast, she basically said, hey, I'm doing this open mic, and I said, oh, that's awesome, I might want to do that. And 10 minutes later she goes, you're booked for it. I said, oh fuck. Now I have to write a bunch of jokes.
Oops.
Yep. But I mean, she gave me this addiction, and I love following through on it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, how are you
Go
speaking?
ahead. Go ahead, Terry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I remember when I first I guess when we did that, it was like a new comic happy hour.
Yeah.
And that's when I remember meeting y'all for the first time.
Yeah.
So
We're doing another one of those this Thursday, 6 at Blueprint before, Gaetano's mic.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite venue? Oh, Terry, you had something you wanted to ask. My bad.
No, go ahead.
So what's your favorite venue, Trace?
Well, I know that you guys don't say the Improv. I don't I don't really do that many. I haven't really booked that many shows. I think I've done one. I
You
love
can do go off
yeah.
that you do as
So
well.
I mean, I'll say this. I think Matthews, that's really, it feels like home to me. That's where I started to really meet you guys, and really get in with it. But I mean, on top of that, with Blueprint is another just amazing one. I think those are both great in different regards for me. So those are my favorites.
I feel like Matthews is always feast or famine whenever I'm there. It either
100%.
has a great crowd or it's all comics, one or the other.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's had some really great nights, and then sometimes it's just comics. But I'm never necessarily disappointed with Tuesday night because you bounce around. I mean, tomorrow I'll probably try to triple dip just because we got this Florida's Funniest coming up, and I want to be tight. And I have not been doing mics, but anyway. So, have you gotten out of Lake Worth yet to do anything?
Not really. I mean, I've done the Coop.
Okay.
But I don't really know much else that's around. I go on to Bad Slava, and I've looked around, and that's kind of how I found all my stuff.
Oh, okay. Well,
Bad
just
Slava's
if
fallen
you
off
ever-
though in the last few years. Bad Slava's kind of.
I gotcha. But I mean, at least there's something.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
it used to be the Bible. You used to be able to just go to a city and just look it up.
You got to find comics and have them all on your social media, and then all the stuff will pop up.
Oh yeah. I mean,
But,
I have a bunch of y'all, but it's mostly shows that are getting promoted now.
Yeah, there's something every night. Like Monday tonight it's Spanx, which I might try to run down to after the podcast, and then Tuesday you got Brews Room, and then Matthews and Batonk. Wednesday Coop, and now you got Dada again, and there's other rooms like V Shally. She goes to some room that's just clean that I don't even know.
Oh yeah.
And then you got Dane, who we keep trying to get on the podcast, but schedules never align. Dane,
Love Dane. Yeah, his therapy sessions.
So.
And that's actually therapy sessions was the first. He was the first person to book me for a show, and I told him beforehand, "Hey, don't book me for this," and he did it anyway.
Well, that's
who's know how to get booked by Dane. Dane, don't book me.
I said, this is too white. Don't add me to this.
So, so I'm taking it you haven't really traveled. Your biggest travel sounds like it's been to Del Rey, right?
Oh,
Or
you mean for comedy or in life?
comedy?
Oh, yeah, not really. I mean, I don't know what else is going on, so I just kind of live my life.
So then what's your favorite moment that you've had as a comic? Your proudest moment, your favorite moment?
And how long have you been doing it?
Oh, February.
That's why I was gonna ask before, but
And
I
like
figured
that,
you'd get around to it.
That
that
was the first
was,
question.
yeah,
Oh, I missed it.
that was my favorite moment though. It was just the nerves of not knowing whether or not what I'm gonna say is funny, and then going up on stage at, you know, the improv and like
Confirming that it wasn't. Yeah.
no, honestly, I killed it. I absolutely, like, it was bizarre. Like, I got off and like this dude was like, everybody said, how long have you been doing this? I said, this is literally my first time. And they were like, bullshit. I've never had that response again.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Well,
what the fuck changed.
That's the refreshing thing. Like if you do that, if you go to the improv and you're funny, you're gonna get laughs. Period.
Yeah.
So you know you're funny. Now you got to work on getting laughs in other spaces, you know.
Exactly.
So that was your favorite moment. What's been your biggest challenge doing comedy?
Figuring out who I am. That's been it. I don't
Elaborate.
like, so like every week, I don't know if you've noticed, I have like probably a different 5 minutes that I'm going up with. I'm always writing and I'm always changing it up because I don't know who I want to be as a comedian yet. I've recently, we'll say, sobered up. I've stopped really going in with like, I've been going straight laced. I've been writing clean comedy over the last week, and I finally performed that set, and I think that might have been the best set I've ever done. And so I think I'm kind of honing in towards the voice that I want to be as a comedian, because like I was trying raunchy and I realized I hated who I was when I was saying it. And that's why I wasn't really going.
So you feel like you're more of a clean comic and you need to kind of hone in on that.
I think that I do better with it. Panucci sent me this thing. It was like a Ralphie May video, and he was talking about, he's like, if you write clean, you can go dirty. But if you write dirty, for some reason, it doesn't connect the same way when you go clean. And so
I disagree.
Yeah, you got like, it finally for me kind of clicked this year about how to do that. I did that So Cafe a couple of weeks ago, and I had this joke about being on the nude beach and how I have to focus on not looking at dicks. I just replaced the word dicks with down.
Yeah.
And I told the whole joke, and it was clean and it was really funny. And so it's a lot of wordplay, but I am one of the comics, because, you know, a lot of new comics do this. They come out and they're just like, gross, you know, you're dirty.
Well, there's a place for clean comedy. There really is. And, you know, the argument of whether it's harder to do clean comedy, of course it's harder. Of course it is. You're taking a tool out of the tool belt and you're saying, do it now. You know, of course it's going to be more difficult, but there's a place for it. And you can get a lot more opportunities with clean comedy than you can with blue comedy. Yeah. You know, because then you got private gigs, you got corporate gigs, TV slots. You know, you can go anywhere with that.
Yeah. Believe it or not,
I don't agree that once you go dirty, there's no road.
Well, I'm not saying that like you can't go back. It's just like you kind of get stuck into your own mind with how you write them. But I'm gonna
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I think I almost disagree. Now that I've been going clean, it's gotten a lot easier, just for the fact that now it is more wordplay. It is like you can change, you know, as you said, from like dick to damn. Like that's just funny in general, just switching up the word to that. Like, and so you get a little bit more laughs based off of just avoiding saying certain words.
There you go. It's like the fact that I'm avoiding saying, because I'm like, oh, I'm trying not to look down, and I didn't realize down was looking up at me, and they knew I was talking about me having an erection without me being so graphic about it, you know? So
yeah.
But that's it's like a puzzle. I like doing this because it is like a puzzle, and it took a little while for that to click with me.
Exactly, and it's so fun once you figure it out, and I'm so close to getting close to the puzzle.
I mean, I will say you get to a point after a while, like I could switch back and forth, no problem, no practice, no nothing. Just, you want me to do 20 clean? Fine, I'll do 20 clean. You want me to do? You're allowing me to talk about what I want to. I'm gonna lean towards the blue just because that's where I lean towards. But
I got you.
it just depends on what gig you're doing, what the agreement is, and whether you feel confident in doing it.
And you have your voice, and even when you switch those words up, Terry, it's still your voice, So,
right. But when I do clean sets, I'm never really proud of it in the same way, because I feel like I'm being somebody else. I'm not being myself.
Yeah, you feel limited because
so
you're gonna say the swear word and this and that, but it's. You make more money if you can do clean. So
all I'm saying is,
but that's what
I
I'm
curse
saying
in my daily life, so I should curse on stage.
But this is what I'm saying, is what I said was it doesn't connect the same way for you when you go from dirty to clean. And that's what you just said, is that when you go clean.
Not for me, the audience is fine.
Yeah, but I mean, as a comedian, you're not feeling it the same way, which I feel like if you did it the other way, you would.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, yeah, but I could say the same thing about smoking weed before I go on stage.
What? No.
Yeah. Like I never smoke weed before I go on stage. I did it one time at the behest of Matt Bellick, who's like, oh, maybe you'll like it more, So he talked me into it. It was just an open mic, didn't matter. I got off. He came up to me and he goes, see, same as always. And I went, not for me, it wasn't. I was in my head the whole time. I was terrified.
And
it
Matt's
wasn't the same for me, buddy.
Everybody was laughing, and you're just like,
yeah.
Right. Trace, let's talk about you as an individual. Like, where are you from?
Okay, so that's a whole story.
Yeah, I was born. Asked you to tell it.
Yeah, no, listen. I was born in Providence, Rhode Island. I moved to North Carolina, Vermont, Utah, Texas, Virginia, Texas, and now Florida. I've been all over this great country. I've seen it all. I love every inch of it. When I was a kid,
is the government trying to find you? Are you Dahmer?
I think it's so cute. I've been all over this great country. Go ahead.
God, I love this country so much. I just hate the people that run it. But no, I mean, it was television. My dad is in the TV industry. My uncles are in the industry, and now I'm into the industry. I'm a marketing consultant for Channel 25 out here, and I absolutely love what I do. I get to help businesses and people find their dreams and experience them. I get to take these things that aren't necessarily working right and help them find an audience and blow them up. It's something amazing. I mean, I have this, let me see, I have stationery.
Shorthand for that is you sell TV ads.
Yeah,
right?
I sell there. Right. Yeah. And
I had a few myself.
Yeah. I like to say I'm not in the business of building business. I'm in the business of building empires. Built a lot of empires in my day, just by doing the right things at the right time. Back home, I mean, but that's just, my job. Outside of that, I love volunteering. I'm on the board for United Against Poverty. I was the president back home of the Goodwill for North Texas. Wow. I mean, I'm on the board for the Young Professionals of Palm Beach County. I've been doing everything and anything in between. It's just any chance I get to do something that I think would be fun, I'm going to take it. Yeah. And
How old are you?
30.
Okay.
I talked to my therapist about these things, and she goes, there's no way you could have done all these things.
Yeah, I'm like, I thought you were a baby. I thought you were younger.
Hey, if you want to compare resumes,
Okay, slow down, put your dick out.
No, I'm just saying,
All right, do you have any other projects?
Of course, my podcast, Dating Tales and Mating Fails. We release a new episode every Tuesday. Well, we try to. This week we got Christina Michelle, and I'm excited for this one to be released. This is a good one. But I like
you and Christina always, or what's
no. It's me and my co-host Aria. So yeah, she does some open mics. Really, she just mostly
see Aria nearly as much as I see you out.
Yeah, she's been taking a break for a while. She mostly does just the improv.
Yeah, she did the classes. No.
She's just done the open mic there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, just doing the improvs, you're kind of spinning wheels there.
Well, I think it comes down to if you want to be a hobbyist or you want to do this as a passion.
Yes, very much.
And
I don't believe in the hobbyist thing anyway,
Yeah.
because the when you say hobbyist, you're comparing it to professional, and nobody in South Florida, say maybe one or two, is actually making a living doing comedy. So we're all hobbyists at this point.
Well, you see, professional, it just means that you've made money doing something.
Well, then we're all professional.
I'm not a professional. I've got paid shit.
You
Yeah.
will.
You will.
You'll get $25 to do a show eventually, and then.
And yeah, that's being a professional comic. It's like not as glamorous as, you know, I think civilians think it is.
I'd rather.
It's not something that you get to quit your day job and do for the majority.
I would, yeah. To me, it's when you do it professionally, as in making a living doing it. Because if you start with the semantics, you know, if you start with the semantics of, oh, I've been paid to do this, so I'm a professional at it. Oh, I got paid to help somebody move one time. I'm not a professional mover. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
kind of you are, though.
No, I'm not. You're
just not a mover by trade. There's a difference.
Definition we're using.
Yeah, it's like, at what point are you not a comic would be the question.
Why does everybody always have to categorize and classify? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, you're the one that said it.
It's about time for us to play the blame game. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You are a self-described libertarian, and I'm not buying it anymore. Who's to blame?
Who's to blame? Me being I'm honestly more anarchistic than anything else. I was a strong conservative for a while. And not to say that, like, I don't have.
No, you grew up in the Northeast.
I didn't grow up in the Northeast. I got the fuck out of there. I was born there.
That bass out your voice, first of all. No, but why do you describe yourself as a libertarian?
Well, I think that it's the one that I really, truly fall in line the most with.
Because of Joe Rogan?
No, I've always been strong towards. I don't like the government. That's really what it comes down to. I hate it. I mean, like, I've read the Constitution and I looked at the way that it is run, and I just don't agree with what's happened. I mean, like, the fact is that they don't want me doing certain things because they think it's best for me. You're not my fucking mom.
Like what?
Like, I mean, I shouldn't own this. They don't want me owning this. But, like, I do.
I don't think that's real.
It's not.
Yeah, no, and
I'm picking up a Gatling gun later.
I was about
that's
to
real.
welfare check over.
Well, here's the thing: is if you're going to live in a society, unfortunately, unfortunately, based on the rules of a society, we all have to walk as slow as the slowest person. So yeah, they don't want you owning that because they don't want Nutterball over here owning it. You know what I mean? Like, I
mean, I get what you're saying, Terry. I do understand where you're coming from. I just disagree with it. Like, that's
yeah,
what
I
it comes down to.
But imagine if that guy in Uvalde would have had a few of those on his belt too.
Oh my God! Stop.
Well, yeah, but I mean, imagine if the police didn't.
This is a rational, logical argument.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I see where you're coming from on that, but like, could you imagine if those police weren't stopping their parents from going in and killing him? Like, we could play the what if game, you know, till we're blue in the face, man. Like,
well, it's not what if, it's a very logical argument about I mean, look, I'm with the libertarian thing on certain points, but I feel like a lot of the ways we run the country is pretty terrible. Like, my sister has 3 kids. Mm-hmm. So her whole life, she's just been sucking up resources from the government. So when we go to pay taxes, why is it me as a single male with no children? Why do I pay more taxes than she does, and she gets fucking rebates?
I'm with you, man.
Why is she getting money back when she uses more and I use nothing?
So it's like,
none of it makes sense.
To go back to the
raising all these people.
Yeah, but like, to go back to like the gun thing is like, let's go down to like the way in which the rules are written, because like it says in the Second Amendment that you have the right to bear arms and that shall not be infringed. Correct?
That's not, I don't think that's it though.
Well, it says you said the right to bear arms in a regulated militia.
Yeah, but the people are the well-regulated militia.
Guys, they always forget the well-regulated militia part.
Yeah, but that's what they're talking about.
They had a well-regulated militia then because they didn't have an army. We got an army, we got a navy, we got a fucking air force. We don't need that shit anymore.
See, we do need it.
Hey,
though.
man, I got it right
Do you
here,
trust
okay?
the government?
I got it right here.
I don't
It's
trust
never.
Joe Bob with a goddamn gun either. So
What?
This is the U.S. Constitution. Do not make me pull it out because
Oh,
it's
listen,
never
I
too
have the
far
same
away.
one.
let me just say this: I'll take the guns away from the government too. Like,
Then we're gonna get
Well,
fucked
and it's
by
not even
Russia.
that.
That's what'll
It's a
happen.
stupid argument. To make the argument that you can stand up against your government in this day and age is ridiculously dumb.
You can.
You
Are
can't,
you serious?
actually.
Have you been to? Have you
Tell
seen
about
the
it.
Middle East? Have you seen how much we fought them? Have you seen what happened in what was that, Washington, where they took on and they won against the government?
They didn't.
They did.
They did not. I
the-
promise you.
I know what I know where you're coming from on that.
talking
I
about
got one word for you,
You
and
saw
that
that
word is
thing?
drones. That word is drones.
Yeah,
You
but,
think
like,
in 1 second, if they didn't want that that combat zone in Seattle you're talking about, you think if they
no,
didn't
that's
want
not what
that,
I was talking about. I was not talking about CHOP.
Talking
okay,
about
well,
the
I'm just
insurrection.
saying, you could get 100,000 conservative libertarians with every gun they got, line them up in the streets of Washington and go for it and see how fucking far you get.
Why haven't we done that in the Middle East then, and wherever we're fighting? Why is it that there's always terrorist cells that appear? Why is it that we couldn't find Osama bin Laden for God knows how long?
I'll tell you exactly why. I'll tell you exactly why. Because of United States morality. Because if we wanted Osama bin Laden dead, we really wanted it, the Middle East would have been a glass parking lot by now. Okay.
The other thing, no, and I get where you're coming from,
but
we're not
accepting, we will not accept hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians die just to get the one thing we want.
And then that's the other thing that you're just saying, though, is then they would have to kill their own people, which they're not willing to do. You're not going to be just bombing your own people regardless, because you know who are your own people? Your military. A lot of them would, unless you go with a foreign power.
Civil war situation,
Well,
which
we
is
got
what you're
drones
describing.
now, like,
Oh,
remember?
and that's going to happen, but it's not going to be what it was previously. What you have to understand, a civil war nowadays would be cells would pop up and disappear overnight. It would be pop up, cause chaos, attack, and then disappear, go elsewhere. Do it all completely under the radar with just pen and paper for everything that you're doing.
All right. So
You wouldn't be connected to anything.
I'm gonna wrap us here.
What you're describing is terrorism, not civil war.
That's how war has changed, man.
Trace,
Like, yeah.
do you have anything you want to promote, like your podcast or any upcoming shows and your social media accounts?
My social media on Instagram, Trace Rossi. Promoting, I don't have anything. Don't buy broken wagon wheels. You don't need them, guys. They're broken. Don't get them.
You have a podcast you want to promote?
I've been saying it the whole time. It's Dating Tales and Mating Fails.
Get it in one last time.
Yeah, that's it. You know, you're right. I should always be plugging that. We come out.
Dating Fails at Trace Rossi on Instagram. Or it sounds like you're not on Twitter then.
No, I don't do Twitter. God, no.
Right,
That sounds depressing.
Are you booked in any upcoming things? Or?
No, nobody books me.
You can catch him at open mics. Well, you don't. We'll talk about
But
that.
you're pretty new still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that after.
So don't take it too hard.
I know. I don't. Don't worry.
I guess that means it is time for Terry Wayne's words for white people. What you got for white people this week, Terry?
Well, getting back to a little bit more reality. What I wanted to talk about this week was jealousy, because this actually reared its head this week with the Florida's Funniest. We haven't had a chance to talk about it since those lists came out, and there was a little bit of vitriol online between some people who didn't make it into the first preliminary round, and that just tells you do it better next time. And you don't have to be that kind of person that looks in your neighbor's bowl, because the only time you should ever look in your neighbor's bowl is to make sure that they have enough. You know what I mean? Because once you start down that road of having that little green monster inside you saying, oh, well, they're getting this and I'm getting that, man, that's just poison. That's poison for yourself. You're never going to be happy like that. You're just going to, at best case scenario, you'll become one of these mega rich people that always has to work and always has to prove themselves. It's because you're not fighting an external force. You're fighting yourself, and you did it, and you're continuing to do it. So when you think about what it is that other people have, the only thing you should be thinking is, thank God they're not this. Whatever this is that is your negative for life, you know, may it be unsuccessful, or may it be poor, or may be not having the newest or the latest things, this or that. And that even comes with acclaim. You know, people, if they work hard and they get some notoriety for something they did, or somebody likes something they put together, you can always kind of feel a little animosity between the people around them that aren't doing that and aren't getting that acclaim. Don't be that. Don't be the middle child in a society where you're always looking, going, well, why did they get that? Because they did, and you didn't. And maybe if you go and pursue something on your own, you'll get it too. But all I'm saying is, it doesn't make you any better. It drags out the happiness you do have, and it prevents you from having new happiness. Because once you start down that road, it's never going to be good enough.
All right.
I feel like that should be said for all races, not just white people.
It is, actually. It is. It is. Oh,
Seems kind of racist that that's just to white people.
No, words for white people started
white.
with one thing, and it has morphed.
I know. I've seen some of them though, where I was just like, "Oh, that is for white," and then I'm like, "Wait, who is this?"
He's actually
No,
the
that's
whitest man I know. So, no, I'm just kidding. All right, those were good words. But I will say this: I can only imagine how it might feel seeing people at multiple locations, and you didn't even get in. You know, like I'm like super blessed and happy I got in. I felt like I got into the Tri-Wizards tournament.
Well, and the thing is, I feel bad because I went
You
when
got
I
in
read
two
that.
Locations.
Well, yeah. Well, when I read that, I only went to Palm Beach because you were going to Palm Beach and I was trying to support. I only wanted to do Dania because I haven't been to Dania, you know?
I mean, like,
trying to support by competing against me, Terry.
I like though that you went for both. I mean, like, don't hate the player, hate the fucking game, dude. Like,
and Terry had a good point. Like, he's like, it means you get on stage at both places. Like, he's not.
I just want to do Dania.
He's not in it to win it, you know. Like, and he might do really well. And
I like the idea of him.
How about
going
words
against
for
himself
comedians right now? Because I got a word for comedians. Half the people that entered this thing and half the people that are performing couldn't even take the prize if they won it. Even if you won it, do you have 45 minutes of A material that you can tour the state with? I don't think so. So what do you like? Why are you taking this so seriously? You know, it's $25 and you get some stage time.
I can get on stage for 45 minutes and tell jokes, but I don't think it's A material. You know, like I'm not.
Well, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're basically going to go around and show every club, every major club owner in Florida that you're not ready or you don't have it.
No, you won't make it that far if you're not ready or you don't have it. But and that's
if you
why
got a solid 15, you can make it through the competition.
That's why you think if you have a solid 15, because I do have that. But anyway, that's why I need to get out and go practice. Trace, thank you for joining us. Folks, me and Terry, you can catch us at the Palm Beach Improv next Tuesday. And when are you at Dania, Terry?
I'm not doing that one right now. That's later in the month, but I will be at Swamp Grass Willie's on the 21st.
Okay.
With Fat Chops and Danny Fallon.
Oh, I might have to show up and act a little wild again. That was a really fun night last time we were at Swamp Grass. All right, guys. Well, until next week, thanks for joining us, and we'll